in a room full of future engineers and scientists. It was the janitor's son, the boy who cleaned the floors, who cracked the code no one could. This is one of those untold stories that proves genius doesn't wear a suit and dreams don't check your wallet. Every morning, before the sun could kiss the sky, Rafay, a 17-year-old boy, would enter the towering halls of Capital University. Mop in hand, eyes low, and heart quietly dreaming. His father, a cleaner at the same university for the past 12 years, had raised him single-handedly after Rafay's mother passed away. Their home was a single dusty room tucked behind the library, a place where books were more valuable than furniture, and silence was often filled with unspoken hopes. Rafay had never sat in a classroom. He had no backpack, no classmates, no desk. But he had something most others ignored: hunger for knowledge. As he cleaned lecture halls and wiped chalkboards, he listened. He picked up fragments of lectures about calculus, probability, physics, and economics. Equations scattered across whiteboards fascinated him. While others heard noise, Rafay heard patterns. Numbers made sense to him, clean, fair, and beautifully honest. They didn't ask about your background or status. At night, under a flickering light bulb, he'd scribbled what he remembered onto an old notebook filled with discarded pages. Using torn textbooks from the trash and curiosity as his only guide, Rafay taught himself what others paid lakhs for. Still, he was just the cleaner's son. Until one day, everything changed. It was the final lecture of the semester in Professor Adnan's advanced calculus class, a class known for giving students nightmares. As tradition, the professor left the students with a challenge: solve this before next Friday, he said, writing an incredibly difficult integral equation on the board. This one hasn't been solved in 5 years. Solve it, and you'll get full marks and a personal recommendation from me. Phones clicked, students groaned, whispers circled. Standing silently near the back of the room, pretending to clean the windows, Rafay's eyes locked on the board. Something clicked. He had seen a similar equation in an old journal he once found in a pile of garbage. His heart raced. That night he skipped dinner. He sat cross-legged on the floor with nothing but his notebook, a half-working pen, and the fire of obsession. Every digit, every symbol whispered something to him. He barely slept for the next 2 nights. He wasn't solving a problem. He was unlocking a dream. Friday arrived. The lecture hall was buzzing with students, some nervous, others indifferent. The professor entered with his usual calm authority. Suddenly a soft voice rose from the back. "Sir, may I try?" Heads turned. Students blinked in disbelief. It was Rafay, holding a single paper in his hands, with trembling fingers and hopeful eyes. Some students chuckled. One sneered, the janitor's kid. "Are you serious?" But Professor Adnan didn't smile. He had seen those kinds of eyes before, the kind that burned with quiet determination. He took Rafay's paper and began to read, then read it again and again. Then, slowly, silently, he walked to the whiteboard and began copying Rafay's steps. The chalk moved. The class fell silent. Step by step, line by line, every part was correct. When he finished, the professor turned to the students and said just 3 words: "This is correct." Gasps echoed through the hall. No one could believe it. The boy who cleaned the halls had solved the very problem that had baffled top students for years. He hadn't even attended a single class, yet his solution was flawless. In a matter of seconds, Rafay went from invisible to unforgettable. By the afternoon, the university called an emergency academic meeting. Professor Adnan, passionate and emotional, pleaded with the board. "We talk about merit, about opportunity. Well, today, merit mopped our floors and solved our toughest question." By evening, Capital University awarded Rafay a full scholarship with a monthly stipend. For the first time in his life, Rafay became a real student with books, ID cards, and dreams no longer locked behind glass. The boy who used to mop the floors now walked into classrooms as a scholar. Time passed. Rafay didn't just perform well, he topped tests, helped other students, and even got selected for a national mathematics competition. But Rafay never let success change his heart. He still greeted every cleaning staff member by name, still visited the old room behind the library, still helped his father clean on weekends. He remained grounded, but now he had wings. 1 year later, during a university event, Rafay stood in front of hundreds of students. He took the same marker that once seemed out of reach and faced the same whiteboard. "I used to be invisible in this room," he said softly. "No ID card, no seat, no uniform. But numbers spoke to me when no one else did. Someone gave me a chance. So if you're sitting here thinking you're not enough, remember me. Remember this story. Don't wait for permission to be brilliant." Conclusion: inspired by untold stories. Sometimes the most brilliant minds are hidden in the most unexpected places. Sometimes the one who cleans the classroom might know more than the one teaching it. This was not just a story about math. This was a story about belief, resilience, and the courage to rise even from the dust. This was the untold story of Rafay, the boy who cleaned the university floor and became its brightest star. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Untold Stories for more powerful tales that the world needs to hear.